To the Department of Defense, Department of Defense, which is making a significant shift in its public engagement strategy. The Pentagon has announced it is suspending participation in all events hosted by think tanks until further notice. In a statement posted on social media, Pentagon Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson said the move is intended to ensure the department does not lend its credibility to organizations that run counter to the values of the Trump administration. The statement specified that no Defense Department official will attend events by what it termed America Last organizations that promote globalism and hate for President Donald Trump. This new policy follows the Pentagon's recent and abrupt withdrawal of its officials from the annual Aspen Security Forum, an event the Secretary's office described as promoting globalism and disdain for the country. Going forward, the Pentagon's Office of Public Affairs will conduct a thorough vetting of every conference invitation to determine if an official's participation would advance the administration's agenda. This marks a departure from historical precedent, as defense secretaries and top military officials have regularly used forums like the Munich Security Conference and the Reagan Defense Forum to communicate U.S. policy. These events often serve as a critical space for dialogue between military leaders, civilian experts, foreign governments, and defense contractors. And while the Pentagon reevaluates its engagement with policy forums at home, it is strengthening military collaboration with key allies abroad. In a landmark event in Australia, the U.S. Army conducted the first ever live-fire test of its new Precision Strike Missile, or PRSM, west of the international date line. The test, which took place at the Mount Bundy training area, saw a U.S.-made PRSM launched from a high-mobility artillery rocket system, or HIMARS, vehicle owned by the Australian Defence Force. This new missile represents a significant leap in long-range strike capability, with an unclassified range of 300 miles and the ability to hit moving targets on both land and sea. Army Secretary Dan Driscoll, who observed the test, said the missile allows forces to hold vast land and maritime regions at risk, thereby increasing deterrence against potential adversaries. The PRSM is a major upgrade for the combat-proven HIMARS platform. While the standard rockets used in Ukraine have a range of about 90 miles, a HIMARS launcher can carry 2 of the new PRSM missiles, more than tripling its reach. Secretary Driscoll noted that in modern conflict, agility and the ability to move quickly are being rewarded over large, static forces. This joint U.S. Australia exercise is a clear show of force amid rising tensions in the Indo-Pacific. It comes as Washington and Canberra continue to navigate the AUKUS security pact, which includes a deal for Australia to acquire nuclear-powered submarines, and as the U.S. seeks clarity on Australia's potential role in any conflict over Taiwan. In the courts, where a federal judge in Massachusetts has decided to maintain a nationwide injunction against President Donald Trump's executive order aimed at restricting birthright citizenship. U.S. District Judge Leo Sorokin issued the ruling, stating that a more limited order would be impractical and would create significant administrative and financial burdens for the states that have challenged the policy. In his opinion, Judge Sorokin wrote that the court record does not support a finding that any narrower option would adequately protect the plaintiffs from the injuries they are likely to suffer if the policy were to take effect. This decision is particularly noteworthy as it comes nearly a month after the Supreme Court's ruling in Trump versus CASA. In that case, a majority of justices suggested that lower courts have likely exceeded their authority by issuing sweeping nationwide injunctions. However, Justice Amy Coney Barrett's majority opinion did leave open the possibility for such broad orders in specific circumstances, stating that judges should fashion their injunctions to provide complete relief for the plaintiffs. Judge Sorokin's ruling appears to directly address that caveat, arguing that only a nationwide block can provide that complete relief in this specific case. The original executive order sought to reinterpret the 14th Amendment, challenging the long-held principle that all persons born in the United States are automatically granted citizenship. From the judicial branch to the executive, another major federal policy is under scrutiny. The head of the Food and Drug Administration, Commissioner Marty Makary, has stated that he has no preconceived plans to alter policies regarding the abortion pill mifepristone. However, he emphasized that the agency is conducting an ongoing and thorough review of the drug's safety data. In a recent interview, Makary said, "You always have to be open-minded. You have to listen to different opinions and make decisions based on what you think is the right thing to do." Mifepristone is approved to end a pregnancy within its first 10 weeks. The commissioner's comments echo those he made at the Semaphore World Economy Summit in April, where he also stated he had no immediate plans to restrict the drug's availability. But he has consistently added a crucial qualifier. If the data being collected reveals a genuine safety issue, the agency would not hesitate to act. This ongoing review comes amid political pressure from some lawmakers. Republican Senator Josh Hawley of Missouri sent a letter to Commissioner Makary in April, urging him to restore what he called critical safeguards on the use of mifepristone, citing safety concerns. Makary has acknowledged these concerns, stating he would continue to listen to folks that say they have concerns, but reiterated that for now, no policy changes are planned. While the FDA weighs its regulatory power on Capitol Hill, lawmakers are seeking to limit the regulatory power of individual states when it comes to firearms. Republican Representatives Elise Stefanik of New York and Darrell Issa of California have reintroduced a bill titled the Modern Firearms Safety Act. The legislation aims to prohibit states from imposing unique restrictions on handguns that are not required by federal law. Specifically, the bill targets state-level regulations, such as those in California and New York, which maintain official rosters of approved handguns. To be included on these rosters, handguns must often incorporate specific design features or safety mechanisms not mandated at the federal level. According to the bill's sponsors, these state-specific requirements make it difficult for firearm manufacturers to introduce new and innovative models into those markets. They argue that these restrictions, often referred to as handgun roster laws, artificially inflate prices for consumers and limit their access to modern firearms. If passed, the act would ban any state or local agency from imposing a regulation that requires a handgun to have a design feature, functionality, or safety standard not already mandated by federal statute.